They built 96 houses on my land, not by accident, on purpose. And when I tried to tell them the land belonged to me, the woman running the neighborhood looked me straight in the eye and said something I'll never forget. "You're trespassing on private property." Private property, my property. That land had been in my family for more than 50 years. My name is Dakota Flint. I'm 47 years old, a structural engineer, divorced, 2 kids in college. Nothing special about me. I drive a 2008 Silverado that burns oil like it's allergic to engines. But my grandfather left me something priceless: 47 acres of forest in Colorado. He bought it in 1971 for $8,200 cash, a quiet piece of land surrounded by pine trees and mountain air. When he passed away in 2019, he left it to me with a single handwritten note tucked inside the deed. "Don't let the bastards take what's yours." At the time, I thought it was just one of his old school sayings. Turns out it was a warning. Life got busy, divorce, 2 kids in college. 70-hour work weeks, so I didn't visit the property for almost 3 years, but I never missed the property taxes. Every April, like clockwork, paid online, kept the receipts. In August of 2022, I finally decided to go up there and scatter my grandfather's ashes. I turned off Highway 36 and drove down the old dirt road that used to lead into the forest. And that's when my stomach dropped. The trees were gone, completely gone. In their place stood an entire luxury subdivision: fresh asphalt roads, street lights, landscaped lawns, and 96 beige Mediterranean houses where my grandfather's forest used to be. At the entrance, a giant stone sign read, "RIDGLINE HEIGHTS, a Whitmore luxury community." I checked my GPS 4 times. Same coordinates, same property lines, same land, my land. I drove toward the gatehouse and a security guard stepped out. "Residents only." I pulled up the photo of my deed on my phone. "I own this property," he laughed. "Sure you do, buddy, and I'm Elon Musk." Before I could argue, a white Range Rover pulled up beside us. Out stepped a woman in expensive white linen with a Rolex on her wrist, Cassandra Whitmore, the developer. She looked me up and down, work boots, old truck, calloused hands, and instantly decided exactly what kind of man I was. Poor, unimportant, disposable. She smiled politely. "If you're looking for construction work, most crews are already full." I shook my head. "No, I'm the owner of this land." Her smile disappeared. She pulled out her phone and scrolled for a moment. "Our title company confirmed this property was abandoned," she said calmly, "which means adverse possession applies." Then she added the line that made my blood run cold. "All 96 homes are already sold. Families are moving in next month. $16 million in sales on my property." She handed me her lawyer's business card like she was flicking away a mosquito. "If you keep trespassing," she said quietly, "I'll call the sheriff." Then she snapped a photo of my license plate. "And trust me, people like you don't win against people like us." I went home shaking. That night, I spread my grandfather's documents across the kitchen table, the original 1971 deed. 50 years of tax receipts, survey maps, every record he had carefully preserved in leather notebooks that still smelled like pipe tobacco. And then I noticed something important. I had never stopped paying property taxes, not once, which meant their adverse possession claim was completely illegal. They knew it, or at least they should have. So the next morning, I hired the most ruthless property lawyer I could find, Lydia Chen, and when she heard my story, she said something I didn't expect. "Don't stop them." I blinked. "What? Let them finish building." Her plan sounded insane, but it was brilliant. "If we stop construction now," she explained, "their company declares bankruptcy and drags this through court for years. But if you wait," she leaned forward, "you'll own 96 completed houses. Because once construction finished, those developers would have committed full-scale fraud, selling property they didn't own. And when the truth came out, they'd be facing millions in damages and possibly prison." So I waited. For months, I watched them build houses on my land. Framers, electricians, plumbers, landscapers. Families began moving in. Kids rode bikes down streets built through my grandfather's forest. And every time I visited, Cassandra would glare at me like I was a criminal. Eventually, she tried to destroy my reputation. She posted online that I was stalking families, said I was taking photos of children. Within hours, my name was all over Facebook, hundreds of shares. People calling me a creep, even my job put me on leave, but Lydia just said one thing: document everything, because every lie Cassandra told was another nail in her coffin. Then the email surfaced, an internal email from Preston Whitmore, Cassandra's husband, the real mastermind behind the development, and the moment Lydia read it, she smiled. Because the email said this: the Flint parcel isn't abandoned. The owner has been paying taxes, but if we move fast and sell houses before anyone notices, he'll either settle cheap or get buried in legal costs. They knew from the very beginning. They knew the land wasn't theirs, and they built an entire neighborhood anyway. The trial happened 6 months later. The courtroom was packed: homeowners, reporters, lawyers. When Lydia showed the judge that email, the entire room went silent. By the end of the day, the judge's ruling was clear. The Whitmores had committed intentional fraud. The development was illegal. And every single structure on that land belonged to me, all 96 houses, plus $4.2 million in damages, and the case was forwarded to federal prosecutors. But the real problem wasn't the developers. It was the families. 96 families had bought homes there: teachers, nurses, electricians, people who believed they were buying their dream homes. Legally, I could have evicted them all and sold the houses myself, made millions. Instead, I called a meeting and told them something my grandfather would have approved of. You keep your homes. Every family would own their house through a community trust, exactly for the price they originally paid. No interest, no extra profit, just fairness. Because my grandfather believed land wasn't about money, it was about legacy. Today, I live on the northern 5 acres of the property in a small cabin surrounded by the pine trees my grandfather refused to cut down. The neighborhood still stands. Families still live there. And every year, the William Flint Memorial Scholarship helps a Colorado student pay for college. Sometimes I sit on my porch in the morning with a cup of coffee and look out over the land my grandfather bought for $8,200, and I remember the note he left me. Don't let the bastards take what's yours. Turns out he was right.